Well, of course you can't. Welcome to Plus Talk on Plus Life, where we're all about turning positive into a plus. Two of my favorite people in the HIV world are joining me today. It's Andy Betts and Kaylee G. Good to see you guys. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Of
Yeah,
course.
thank you.
Of course. I know it was a little maybe baby there at the top to say how can you spot someone living with HIV, but I think so many people think they can, because I think so many people think HIV really only looks a certain way, as in a gay man or someone who injects drugs, right?
Yeah, yeah. For me personally, I always just feel like those that are born HIV positive are often overlooked. And yeah, I'm definitely a person that tries to create more of a narrative for our community as well.
Yeah, Kaylee, like Andy there, you were born with HIV. What do you think is the biggest misconception about how someone like you looks and lives with HIV?
That's a really great question. I honestly found out when I was 7 years old in 1993, and it was very much so pandemic. Don't share your status with people. Stigma was harsh. You're dirty. There was no information. Like, you're gonna catch it and you're gonna die. And I just watched people honestly just project onto me the fact that people even had the stigma of it being gay, and just like trapping that in their mind was just like such a wild thing for me, because like I grew up, I had a mom that was a lesbian, and like I am not, to me, like a person is a person.
Right.
Like it's about consensual and healthy relationships. It's not about what someone does with their genitals. It's love is love.
The truth is that not everyone is a homosexual or an IV drug user who ends up with HIV, case in point. And I'm curious.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, but like even if they are, like it's just like ew. Like,
Yeah.
why would you even be like that?
Yeah, Andy, and I see you're nodding in agreement there, which I am too.
Yeah. If I can add to it, like
Yeah.
I really do feel like people often forget that. I mean, it's been said time and time again that the first letter in HIV is human. And we as humans, we all have, our own obstacles, our own battles, our own demons. Not saying HIV is a demon, or people living with HIV, are dealing with demons, but it's just the fact that we always have what I call the superiority complex. Oh, at least my problem isn't bigger than that person with HIV's problem. And it's just like, no, we all are dealing with our own thing. How about we learn to accept others, learn about other people and their issues, and just go about life as human beings,
Yeah, have either of you ever had someone in your adult life, say whether you've been dating or whatever, when you've told them your status, they've sort of acted all surprised or skeptical, like, oh my gosh, you have HIV? Have you had that kind of reaction? And how has that made you feel?
I actually shared my status with someone, and we went on a date, and we ended up hooking up. And after we hooked up, like I mentioned something about me being positive, and they're like, wait, I thought you were joking. And flipped out, started crying. Like I like literally went into like a shell and was just like, oh my God, I need to put on my clothes and like leave. And like in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking of, people that could potentially become violent with someone. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is just so wild. But yeah, like the oh my gosh, like I don't believe you, it was a joking, was just very off-putting.
What about you, Andy? Have you had someone say, wait, what? How could you be HIV positive? I thought you were straight.
Yeah, I'm always on TikTok Live teaching people about HIV and AIDS, and of course, I'll get the people that do genuinely have questions and want to learn, but then I also get the people in the comments that'll be like, "Oh, you must be DL," and it's like, if you go look at my page, you literally see my girlfriend, you see that I was married to a woman before her, and it was just like, people living with HIV don't always have to be this I guess image that the 80s have put on our heads, and just I feel like a lot of people just forget that HIV, just like anything else, that is, decades old, just like HIV is, evolved,
But Andy, how do you deal with that sort of? I mean, it's got to be awful, constantly having to sort of say to people, no, I'm not gay. And by
Yes.
the way, who cares if you are, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who gives a shit, quite honestly.
Right.
But you're not. And
Right.
and so be it. But somehow you've got to explain it all the time.
As a heterosexual Black man living with HIV, that is open about HIV, that has lost his mother to AIDS complications, it drives me insane whenever I see, especially people living with HIV, spreading more stigmas. To me, it feels like all the work that people like Idea Broadbent, that Kaylee, that Cece, that myself, all these people that are so vocally trying to educate people on, it feels like we're just going right back to the 80s. And it just drives me nuts, because it's like there are so many people, especially again in the heterosexual Black male community, that they don't want to talk about their status because they're going to be identified as, oh, you're gay, because you wouldn't have HIV if you weren't.
Go for it. What do you want to jump in with, Kaylee?
Which the fact of that mindset perpetuates self-harm and addiction and shame and guilt, and that's where HIV really thrives. And it's just like, that's what we have to stop. And for anyone to listen to people's nonsense that perpetuates stigma is just really infuriating, because it makes me feel like a voiceless child.
I want to leave it with this, and this is for both of you, and I guess Kaylee, you can go first. What's the number one thing you want people to understand about what it means to live, love, and thrive with HIV?
We are just normal people. Like, we are people, and we feel all the same feelings as any other person. And it is about you trying, have empathy and compassion for us, because we are full of empathy and compassion.
Nice. What about you, Andy?
I always tell people that like HIV really ends once we educate and once we communicate. Because once we educate ourselves, we know how to protect ourselves and protect, our loved ones, protect those around us. And then when we communicate, we, get rid of stigma. And I believe that stigma is, the most violent out of the whole HIV virus.
Thank you both, Andy Feds, Kaylee G, for being just two of the many beautiful faces who are living with HIV and thriving and doing such great work. The stuff you guys do online and out in the community genuinely changes lives, and I and everyone at Plus Life are just thrilled that you could spare us a few minutes and give us the time today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
That is going to do it for this episode of Plus Talk. If you want more information, you can like, follow, and share. We're across all your favorite social platforms. And hey, leave a comment below. Tell us what you thought of this conversation. If you want to see more of it or you want to see other topics, let us know. You can also check out the website, pluslifemedia.com. Until next time, be nice to one another. And remember, you equals you, undetectable equals untransmittable. See ya.